Now, for somebody who's criticizing me of being, like, helter-skelter and not professional enough, well, I guess not professional enough or something, not academic enough in citing my sources and stuff, this is the most ridiculous attitude to take to a philosophical conversation. Kant praised the scientific revolution and quoted Newton and said it was great. Therefore what? Therefore he put brown socks on every morning.
Revolution, philosophy needs that. We need truth.
And he wanted to bring science into philosophy, Zorio was saying. And that's what he tried to do, was bring truth into philosophy. Where philosophy is just concepts, we need the scientific revolution to come in there. So what does he do? He destroys all knowledge altogether across the board. Great, great.
Because people like Hume, they're not bringing us to it. They're bringing us to nihilism.
And then Kant was the real nihilist. That's ironic.
I think if you actually read Kant, Mr. Cropper, that you would actually enjoy it.
I think if you read Objectivism, you would not enjoy it.
But maybe not at this point, because you've just been told so many times not to like Kant. I mean, honestly, I haven't found anything yet that it seems that you wouldn't agree with.
I believe that. He says he hasn't found anything reading Kant that I wouldn't agree with. I believe he could twist himself into semantic pretzels weird enough to get me to agree with Kant on just about anything. I believe that. Because you can get those contradictions that are complementary, and you juggle them a bit, and you have a little bit of faith, and there you go, you've got your connection. I believe that. On the other hand, anybody who's got half a brain would know that when Kant says we have to sacrifice ourselves from a sense of duty, I'm going to object to that. And almost every single other thing Kant says. So either Zorio doesn't know anything about my beliefs, or he's brain dead, or he's had a lobotomy, or something's happened.
Maybe that whole faith bit, because you might say that science will one day get there.
Or maybe that whole faith bit. Yeah, the part that his philosophy's based on.
But Kant would probably say that science would one day get there too, and prove that we're either free or determined.
Kant might say lots of things, but his philosophy led to communism, fascism, and the nihilistic destruction of the world. That's Kant's whole basis, is to say, our senses shape reality. Therefore, we don't know the real reality. I think
that's not true.
He says that's not true. It doesn't follow. Our senses shape reality, therefore we don't know the real reality. The real reality is inaccessible to us. And he says that's not true. Good summation of it,
It's not that we don't know the real reality, it's that we don't know anything outside of the real reality.
Oh, we only know the real reality. The real reality is the only thing we know. Now, I've actually given that statement elsewhere in this video series, too. This is the real reality. This is the phenomenal world, science and stuff. Then beyond that is a supernatural reality. Another realm, which is the real reality. So it's hard to know what a guy means when he's talking about Immanuel Kant's philosophy. This guy keeps saying real. What does he mean by real? Does he mean the real world, or the real world that's really real? You know, so it's all semantics and garbage. And I said before, this is how these guys get their paychecks. What I mean is this shit. Just, I say it's real this time, and he says that's okay. And then next time he says, no, it's not real, what it means is this. And then next time he says, yes, it is real, and reinterprets it a different way. And they can even be contradicting. And when you bring it up, he'll give you an essay on why the contradiction is okay and complementary or whatever. And they just write more and more and more and more and more, and it just goes out in every frickin' direction, and none of it makes any sense.
And I mean, as someone who always talks about reality, as you do, Mr. Cropper, you would probably say there isn't anything outside of reality.
Everything is real, and nothing is not real. The only thing that exists is things that are real. That's true. Nothing exists but reality.
And Kant would basically agree with you.
Kant would agree with me that nothing exists but reality? Yeah, except for that whole noumenal dimension that makes itself known through a feeling of duty. Other than that, I guess me and Kant pretty much agree on everything. Yeah, let's see. He has a universe that commands humans to sacrifice themselves, and I say there's only this world, and our senses tell us objective truth. Well, other than that, other than the fact that we're talking about different universes, we agree on pretty much everything. Okay, continuing with Zorio on Kant parsecs.
But he would say, but there's always the possibility of there being more than we experience.
Now, there is an epistemological problem here with identifying possible, probable, likely, certain, impossible. There's a scale, maybe we could call it a scale of possibilities. And at one point you are absolutely certain, and at the other point it is completely impossible to know. And terminology has to be phased in between there. And when you say something is possible, on what grounds do you say that? Because Zorio is saying things are possible, which I would say are not. So there has to be some deeper justification. You can't just say it's always possible that anything in the world obtains. You can't just arbitrarily pull that out and then use that as a basis for further investigation. Why do you say it's possible that the chair is a different way than it gives itself to me? Why do you say it's possible that reality is not what I perceive it as? Why? Why do you say that? You have to give some deeper justification. You can't just say everything is possible all the time, always. It's completely arbitrary, and you're using it as a basis to go from there. And I know everybody today, especially they equivocate from science, which equivocated from philosophy to begin with. That there is, everything is possible. Everything. Given quantum mechanics, everything's a likelihood. Nothing's nothing's impossible. It's just highly, highly, highly unlikely. And which is ridiculous.
Engaged in belly dance.
Because what does it mean for something to be less likely than a single one out of the number of atoms in the universe?
Respond to parts 2 and 3 as well. But just on that last little bit, I don't really get that whole straw man thing you're using. Because a straw man in philosophy is a bad thing. And you're basically saying that Kant was a straw man, because I'm guessing because there isn't anything substantive there.
Right.
And again, you say that Kant says we don't know the truth, when that's what Kant says. Towards the end of the critique of...
Now, Kant says he's telling us the real truth. Right? Right? Because he's explaining the universe to us. He's giving us the categories. He's giving us the categorical imperative. He's telling us the real nature of reality, the fact it's beyond our senses. He's telling us how our senses organize it. So, if you want to put it that way, Zorio, Kant is giving us the real, true reality. But, if you cut away all the verbiage, Kant is saying that your five senses don't get to reality. There's something real beyond what you know, and you cannot access it. You're cut off from it by definition because your senses have a specific nature.
Pure reason. He basically says that there's three goals of philosophy. Three questions that philosophy aims to answer. The first one is, what can I know? The second one, what ought I to do? Ethics.
What can I know is epistemology. What ought I do is ethics.
Third one, what may I hope? And
the third one should be, what should other people do, which would be politics. Ethics and politics are separate because you would still need ethics on a desert island. And number one, what can I know, would include a question of what is reality, which is metaphysics. So this philosopher is just outlining the branches of philosophy. But he says, what can I hope for, is the third thing philosophy talks at, and that's stupid.
He gets into that in his philosophy of religion in
philosophy of
religion. Religion within the limits of reason alone.
Religion within the limits of reason. Fine.
I should know that, since I wrote a paper on it. Anyway, yeah, the first thing that he's trying to answer is, what can we know? And he's basically outlining that so that people can't say that we know things objectively when in fact we don't, because they're...
Now, how would you ever come to that conclusion? To say, we don't know things objectively?